So with Thanksgiving officially here, a moment here in the US where we take a step back to give thanks towards everything that we're grateful for, I want to talk a little bit about kind of what I'm thankful for at this point in time, with us going into the holiday season, with where I once was a year and a half ago to where I am now. So much has changed in my life, and it's really, really humbling to step back at this point in time and look back on that growth and look back on where I once was and see where I'm at now and what I'm able to do now. And it's very humbling to see. And I think for those of you watching, the biggest thing that I want to see each and every one of you understand is the fact that you can be in the same spot as well. Where your current situation is now, in a very short period of time, things can change super, super quick. And that's what I want to talk about today. So for those of you that don't know, to kind of fill you in a little backstory and kind of how I got to where I am today itself, it all began really about 6 years ago. At this point in my college years, when I was really pursuing this goal of making an income online and growing my own online business and creating freedom for myself and my family online. And at that time, while being in college and studying marketing, I was also working part-time for my family business, doing remote marketing work for them. And it was my mission during the college years to get to the point where I could graduate from school, be able to have my online business established, making money, so I could not go into either working back with my family business or going to another 9-to-5 job that I did not like. Because at that time in college, I actually had a internship with a life insurance company. I was doing marketing work for a life insurance company. And every single day I would go into work throughout that internship, and I would sit in a cubicle, and I would literally hate life every single day. I couldn't stand it. And I knew that after completing that period of time of doing that internship, that I never, ever, ever wanted to step foot back in that environment ever again, because it was toxic. It was making me literally hate to wake up and go to work and live life every single day. And that's not the way that anybody should have to live. So continuing on from that point, that only motivated and drove me to want to bring this online business to life even more. Now, as I approached the end of my college years, right before that time, I was at the point where I was just launching an Amazon FBA business, and it flopped. I put $2,500 into inventory, and it did not do too well. So I graduated school. That was kind of a waste. Didn't really go anywhere. It was a learning experience, but no money or no financial gain came from it to the point where I could say, you know what, I'm going to go full-time online at this point and do my own thing. So I came to the choice where I had to put myself in a financially strong position and start bringing money in so I could invest more into my future online. So at that time, I decided to go back and work for my family business and step back into the role of head of marketing for them with their jewelry store. So getting back into the family business, quickly things kind of escalated and got taken to a level that I did not expect early on. We had our manager at that store at the time leave the store, and me being someone that's grown up in the store, being a part of the family, I had to take the ropes of a management position there at a young age. That quickly led to me having to work 70 to 80 hours a week, especially during the holiday season, with that being the busiest time for retail stores. And this is at the point where I start to become incredibly humbled and grateful for where I'm at right now and the fact that I don't have to be in that environment anymore, because that was starting to take a toll on my life, on my relationship, and on everything about my day-to-day life itself very, very quickly. And it got to the point where I was getting back to that mode of what I hated with that internship, where I was waking up dreading going to work, feeling like I didn't have enough time in the day to do the things that I wanted to do. And everything kind of felt like a hustle and grind. Like I had to go to my 9-to-5 job, which is more like a 9-to-7 job, hustle from 9 till 7, come back home, and then work for another 2 hours on the side hustle. And taking that into effect, along with me having a significant other to come home to as well, it didn't work out too well, because it led to impatience within our relationship. It led to frustration within my relationship. And it made things very, very difficult as a whole, because I knew that eventually I would figure things out, and I really wanted to figure those things out, but I didn't know when that would come. And it's hard for me to sit back and say to my fiance, you know what, eventually this will be here, but I don't know when. And for her, that's just hours and hours of time that could be spent together for us actually growing our relationship that was now being pushed away and put to the side because I was more focused on this goal at the time. With that quickly growing more and more old as time passed, I decided that it was time to start taking things a little bit more seriously, to give myself more of a shortcut to making this success happen online. So before that, I wasn't really making any major investments in my business. Now, once I came to this realization and made this switch, this is when I started to take the money that I had worked hard to make before this and saved up and taking a chance and putting this back into my business to try to shortcut my path to actually bringing this goal of mine to life so I could have more balance in my life as a whole. So once I made that first investment, that rippled into making over $65,000 investment last year alone, which is when I started to first get my online business off the ground. And before this, like I mentioned, there was years of struggle of trying to connect the dots and try to figure out what I was even going to do to grow an online business and to serve people online. And it really didn't start coming into full clarity until last year as I started to make those investments itself. But even as I started to make those investments and apply these proven strategies that I was getting from other mentors and other coaches, I was able to start getting things moving, bringing in my first $1,000 day online, bringing in my first $5,000 month online. But even at that point, there were still some issues that I was dealing with. And that was the fact that the results that I was bringing in felt random in a sense. I didn't know if that next month after that I would hit 5K again, or if I would go back down to 1K. And then from there, I didn't know whether I would be able to grow to the next month after that. And it felt like the results were there and they were coming in and it was bringing aha moments for me. But I knew at the same time, in order for those results to even be there to begin with, the reason they were there was because I was hustling extra hard to make those happen. I was working all of these hours for my 9-to-5 job to pay for these investments. And then along with that, I was coming home and every single minute in between trying to understand Facebook Messenger, trying to understand sales conversations, spending more and more time in Messenger, doing everything that I could to put myself in a position to create freedom and to give myself and my family the life that I wanted for them. And that continued to take a toll on my day-to-day life as a whole. As I mentioned before, it wasn't easy on my relationship. There was times last year early on where things got really, really tough because my fiance was very supportive of me, but she was also impatient at times too because she wanted more time and attention from me, and I wasn't giving that to her. And this is why I knew that I really needed to get to the bottom of this and get to the bottom of this quickly, because without this, without actually figuring this out and without getting to the point where I could step away from this 9-to-5 job, go full-time online and actually have a system in place that was working for me, nothing would ever change. I would always be in that same spot and I could not deal with that. So although I knew there was more to come at the time, every single day I was waking up more and more exhausted every single morning. I was dreading going to work. I was dreading coming home and trying to put in and squeeze in an extra 3 hours because I knew that that was pulling away from time with my fiance, and it was kind of creating a ripple effect of negative energy all around the things that I didn't want to have to be doing at the time. And although I knew I needed to have to push through those moments, it was really, really tough because it hurt. It physically started to hurt at one point because there was not enough hours in the day to do everything that I wanted to do, and there was a lot of missing pieces in my puzzle that I was trying to fill in and figure out that were not so easy to figure out on my own in those early stages, which is why I started to make those investments to begin with. But as I started to get some of that clarity and starting to build some momentum, as I mentioned before, the results really weren't predictable yet. They weren't controllable. So although results were coming in order for me to actually step away from that job confidently, I had to be at a point where my online business was in control, where I could wake up and know that this month I'm going to hit this mark. The next month I will continue to grow and hit this mark. And without that, it was very scary for me to step away and say, you know what, I'm going to walk away from this secure job and take a chance on this. Because if that didn't work out, then I wouldn't be able to support my family or my future as a whole. And throughout that year of working 70, 80 hours a week, I also continued to chip away at this side hustle of mine. And so as I continued to push through and keep my nose to the grindstone and continue to try to block out the noise around me, block out the negative energy around me, and continue to dial this process in, I went from my first 10K month to the next 10K month, and to be able to start actually predictably and consistently generating results and stacking those results over a period of time until I got to the 6-figure mark last year and went from 0 to 6 figures in less than 12 months. And it was at this time where I was at a spot where I knew that I could confidently walk away from a 9-to-5 job and do it in a way that I wouldn't have to worry, because I knew that results were coming in and I knew that they would come in the next month as well. And I knew that if I continued to focus on serving my people and deploying these frameworks and strategies that I developed and these systems that I developed over the last year, that I would be in a spot to continue to win while also continuing to impact others. But I also knew that although things were becoming easier, and although I was spending less time in Messenger, and although I was starting to see results in ways that I'd never seen before, I knew that they could be easier, not only for me, but more importantly for people that work with me, my clients and my students, for them to implement and get the same result as well. So as I started to share the power of what I had built over this past year and these systems that I had made around Messenger, around lead generation, around Facebook Organic, that were starting to actually serve me and serve me at a very high level and allow me to escape the time lost that I was dealing with early on last year itself. I started to share the power of that to some initial clients, and they started to see results with it as well. And again, comes back to the point where although they were seeing results, and although this was a proven system that brought me to six figures, I wanted to continue to take things to the next level. Because with anything, there's always ways to improve it, dial it in, and make it even more powerful. So with me growing into my coaching program late last year, after I hit that six-figure milestone and launched that program, working with a multitude of students, reviewing hundreds of messenger conversations, looking at my own messenger conversations, and looking back at this proven process as a whole that I developed, I started to pinpoint areas that I could pull out and make even more powerful, eliminate the stuff that was kind of wasting time and wasn't working, and take things to the next level. And I spent the first 6 months of 2022 really dialing in my entire marketing and sales process to the point where I could get to where I wanted to be years before that, which was getting to the point where I didn't have to worry about when the next lead would come in. I didn't have to worry about when the next sale would come in. And I could know that I would wake up every single morning, and as long as I hit a few small inputs, that I would be putting myself in a position to continue to stack results and continue to propel the new months. And as I started to dial this in further, as I started to develop new frameworks on top of this already proven framework, including my pilot messenger framework, including other key components within this as well, this is when things really started to take off. And this is when really I went from a moment where it was a huge aha, where I knew that time was freeing up, where my life was coming back to life, and I was actually starting to have the freedom that I was really searching for to begin with, to now seeing the fact that this could be taken to a complete new other level, where I could take a day tomorrow and not work at all, spend time with my fiance and do whatever I wanted to do with her, and not have to worry about it because I knew that I had the system in place to do that. And as I refined this proven process, this is what allowed me to go into this year itself, going from consistent 10K months up to 15K months and hitting 100K in less than 12 months for the year, to now going into 2021 and growing into 30K months, 40K months, 50K months, and even beyond 50K months this year, to where we've now hit over 350K in revenue, all because of this powerful system beneath it. And this is what I like to call the heartbeat of my business. This is what allows my business to continue to grow to new heights, continue to predictably and consistently stack results, and ultimately give me the freedom that I was looking for the last 4 years itself. So as I stand at this point, I'm in a position where I don't really need anything. I don't need a sale from you guys today. I don't need a sale from someone tomorrow. But I know that with what I have in place, those sales will come. And I want each and every one of you watch this video that are looking to get to this point, be at this point, so you can escape where you are now and what you want to run from itself and get out of, just like I was last year and years before that, to where I am now, because I know that you can too. And I really wanted this video to show the power of how much things can change in a very short period of time when you have clarity and when you have the proper frameworks in place that allow you to wake up knowing that you're doing the right things and that your business is going to grow if you simply do those small things each day. And it can come down to as little as 1 hour a day of time on the right activities to continue to create that momentum and growth going forward. So rather than give you a whole spiel on what is available right now and what I rolled out this week with Post to Close 2.0, as I said before, I don't care if you jump in Post to Close or not. And I know these spots will fill up by the end of the week. But what I do want to say is I encourage you guys to take some time and think today about what you're grateful for this week as a whole, looking back at your journey over the last year. And also think about what you want to go away going into next year. And I encourage you to think right now as well, going into Thanksgiving in 2022, what if you could be in a spot where you're standing here where I am right now, not having to worry about when the next result will come in, not having to worry about where the next lead will come from, knowing that your business is continuing to stack results and grow to new heights with clarity and with focus behind that, to the point where you now have the freedom to do the things you want to do. You have control over your business as a whole. You can eliminate your 9-to-5 job and you can live life to its true potential. Now, for those of you that want to work with someone like me that was once in your shoes not long ago to help you make that happen with what we have going on right now with our Post to Close workshop, what I encourage you to do is click below this video. You'll see a link to a page to see the full breakdown of my story behind how this workshop came to life, what's all included, and what's in it for you itself. And again, as we stand right now, we have less than 10 spots remaining with what we have going on ending here on Black Friday. But I highly encourage those of you that resonated with this video and what I talked about today, to check this out, give it a look, jump in if you feel like this is something that could benefit you. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to give me a holler and shoot me a message, as I will drop that link below in the description as well. So again, thanks for taking some time to listen to my story today. Hopefully this benefited a few of you guys in showing you not only the power of how much things can change in a short period of time, but the fact that you're capable of doing whatever you want to do. It just comes down to having the right systems and processes in place that you can fall back on to confidently know that you can just show up on those activities each day, stacking results, growing your business, and not having to worry about when the next sale, lead, or opportunity will come your way. Because once you can eliminate that, you can step into your true self, start being vulnerable within your content, start sharing your true story, and start having fun with this process as a whole, and really living your true life in a fulfilled way. So to me, that is what running a successful online business is all about. Being able to not only escape what you didn't like with your 9-to-5 job, being able to not only have the freedom to do the things that you want to do when you want to do them and be in control of your income, but the benefits of all of this also come in ways that I didn't see once before, which is now being able to positively impact the lives of hundreds of people by sharing with them what I've learned throughout my journey and the processes that I've developed, so they can plug into them and do the same. And seeing that correlate into results for them, 5K, 10K months, 15K months, 20K months for them and beyond, and how that transforms their life, their families, and their future as a whole, there's nothing more fulfilling in that. And there's nothing more that I'm grateful for during this week than seeing all of that come to life over this last 1.5 to 2 years. So when I was in your shoes not long ago, I'd love to be that piece in your life that really allows you to step into your true self, unlock your true potential, and gets to the point where you're not having to sweat or worry about when the next lead or when the next sale will come into your business. So you can know and wake up confidently every single morning that you are doing the right things, that your business is growing, and that you soon will be to where you want to be. And you'll eventually get into this position right here where you can make one of these videos and share this story as well. So with all that said, for those of you that have not yet subscribed to the channel, be sure to do so before you head out. And for those of you that want to check out the remaining spots on my Post to Close workshop before the spots sell out this week, be sure to click the link in the description, check that out, and shoot me a message if you have any questions from there. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.